Oh, I look too pale.
It's all working. Good evening, everybody. Darge is looking pale. Luke he's earned the nickname Lukey Bear apparently in the run up to this show. I heard that for the first time today, but he's earned it. And you got me as well. This is the Arcadia Round Table, and we're going to be talking about games and shit. So if you've been trying to play your PlayStation games and it's telling you don't own it or you're not online and all the rest of it, come in here, have a little listen, have a little talk to us. It will be delightful. Lukey Bear. And I'm not sticking with that, to be honest. I'm just going to call you Luke. Luke, how you doing?
Yeah, that's Darge only. I think he can get away with it. Nobody else. Yeah, no, I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, very well. Been playing some good stuff, some surprising stuff, which we'll get into. And looking forward to talking with you both.
This is surprising for me as well, because I don't know what Luke's been playing. We didn't get into that before the show, so I'm excited to find out. But first, Darge. That's it.
Hello.
That's the question.
Hello. What's happening? What's the question?
That was the question. Yeah, how are you doing? Say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. It's not been a great week. It's not been a great week. I'm a bit under the weather. Got a bit of an heavy cold and that, but a soldier on for old Lukey and Asa Bear, you know.
I see how you feel, but I didn't enjoy it.
Played some games, which we'll talk about, but yeah, it's been another week. Grateful to be here with you both, as always.
Luke, question has just popped into my head because I was looking at chat there and I can see that Patrick says $5 says that Darge is wearing a hat. Was Darge wearing a hat before we went live? Did he take it off especially because he read this message? Or was Patrick wrong?
I didn't see it. No, I think Patrick might be wrong. I didn't see it. But it's entirely possible, though. You got a plethora of hats.
I can get a hat. It's fine. I'll get a hat, Pat.
No, it's all right. He's lost that bet. No worries. But Patrick, you owe us nothing because you've gifted so many games in the Discord. So thank you for that. Always. Chronic's here, Game of Passion's here, Death Demon Hunter, Isla's here, Dave Mack, and whoever else is here in chat lurking around, coming after the fact. Thank you for giving us some of your precious time. Let's talk about our first little bit of a topic. Kind of blends with what Darge has been playing lately. Darge, that's a delightful hat. I knew everything would be classy today. I'm not sure it's working quite perfectly without headphones. But
I've not got my hat brush. It's you know, but I'm a purveyor of many hats. But yeah, what was you just talking about?
So we were going to talk about, we always start this podcast talking about games that we've been playing, but in your case, I know you've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and a little bit of 2. Tell me, let's start with Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, because I think you dropped that before you got to the end because you were far too eager to move on to number 2, right? But what was your overall takeaway from 1, and why have you moved on to 2?
Well, my takeaway of 1, without fully finishing it, is probably the best RPG I've ever played. We spoke last week, I think, and my obviously it's personal, but the medieval period, stuff like that, obviously is a big thing for me. So that's why I enjoyed it. I think the way that the game's built out and stuff like that, I just loved it. The reason that I jumped off, 2 reasons. Obviously, we all know that I'm the FOMO master. Yeah, so when everyone's playing the sequel and then there's like a spoils of lore thread being put up, I'm like, and I feel like I spoke to Joe, like Hoddle Shark, earlier today about it, and I said, because I was beelining the first game, I was literally just doing the main quest. It was like taken away from my character progression, if you will, because I wasn't, and I've heard the side quests are brilliant in the game anyway, but I wasn't doing any of that. So I think I ended up jumping out about sort of 3/4 of the way through, and it was becoming it was becoming difficult because I'd missed out on so much progression, if you get me.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, I was just like, I would rather tap out of this one now, watch the 10-minute recap of the main story so I can get the gist of where we're going in at this one, and then absolutely marinate in this one for hours on end, doing all the side quests, doing everything. And ultimately that's what I did. And mate, it hasn't disappointed, put it that way. I think Luke's had a little dabble with it. I don't think you have yet, have you, Asa?
I've not touched it yet, but I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm hearing you stopped playing the first one because of a skill issue and moved on to the second one. Putting that aside, though, what's your immediate feeling on the jump from 1 to 2?
So far, I wanted to play a bit more before we went live, and my family got in the way. But it's a couple of hours in, it just feels perfect. Like what they've done, obviously visually, graphically, everything's improved. I mean, the previous game didn't have DLSS and stuff like that, so it's a much more pleasant. I was using lossless scaling over the top of the original game for it to be smooth, and it was great. But so performance-wise, it's brilliant. It's really well optimized. And again, I know I'm only 2 hours in, but story-wise, it just feels like it's got it. The combat, I've done some combat. The combat in the first game is like, a lot of people, you love it or hate it, it's like Marmite, right? But the game does say to you, if you keep investing the time in the combat arena and get more skilled swordsmanship points and stuff like that, it will obviously naturally get better for you. But they've improved that. There's I don't know how you say it. Is it riposte or whatever now? That's like a sort of another attack that you can do with the sword when you do a perfect block. Mm-hmm. So far, the sword play feels improved from the first game. It just feels like a genuine, as far as the sequel goes, 7 years later, it's just quality. I really want to just invest the time into it now, like I say, with the side quests, not skimping out on anything, doing everything, taking the time in the combat area to get better, doing the speech, investing more time with the speech and the reading, and stuff like that, because it will make you a better player as you go further down the line. But like I say at the start, I'm not a big RPG fan. I know, I've not played an Elder Scrolls game. I've rarely played a Fallout game. But in this setting and the way it's done in the story it tells is just I love this game. I'm sure next week I'll probably have a lot more to say on it after a good more time spent in it. But yeah, I'm loving it. And it's just quickly as well, like we say, I said this to Joe earlier on a call, I always make the point of saying I don't care about meta. I don't care about Metacritic scores, and this, that, and the other. And I genuinely don't. But if there was one that I was going to half paying attention to, it would be a genuine third-party title that has no, platform marketing deal, no exclusivity deal, no first party. Do you know what I mean? Where it's just completely neutrally coming in, and there's no sort of narrative that you can lean into to skew your scoring to a degree, and it came out, I think, with an 88 or something like that. So yeah, it's good to see.
So this might surprise you, Darge, but I actually have no strong feelings about Marmite. You're supposed to love it. I hate it. I think it's all right. I'll eat it from time to time. Don't love it. Don't hate it. So that's just me. I'm a broken human being, but I don't think Marmite is really what we're talking about right here. Luke, I can't remember what you said about Kingdom Come Deliverance last week. I think you hated it or didn't play it, fell off of it, found it sticky and difficult in some way. Skill issue again. What are your thoughts on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 so far?
Yeah, I've actually quite enjoyed it so far. I think that the FOMO got to me a lot, just because I've been kind of wanting something a bit deeper to sink my teeth into. And obviously, I said a moment last week, the only thing that would tempt me about this one would be if the kind of critical consensus was very, very high, and it was. So, including a few outlets that I tend to look at for that sort of stuff. So, I was like, okay, I'll pick it up, because why not? And I've played probably about 2 hours. I'm still in the sort of tutorial-y introduction bit. It's quite a long introduction, but it's a very strong opening in terms of story, and you don't really. I watched a recap beforehand, but I don't think you really need to watch that recap if you don't want. They do quite a good job of onboarding new players, including in the mechanics is like an onboarding combat mechanic and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's got quite a lot of charm to it. It's kind of old school PC RPG, and the combat's actually decent. Like, it's very unique. It's kind of its own thing. There's nothing really I can compare it to. But it's kind of trying to be a realistic representation as far as it can be of that period, and I think it does pretty well. And like I say, it's quite strong. It's very, very RPG, very systems heavy, which is really interesting, and something that I quite like about it. And as Darge said, it runs really well. It doesn't have frame gen or anything, I don't think, but it's running on like a modified Cry engine, so it looks really nice. It's got really, really great draw distances. It doesn't have any ray tracing apart from, I think the GI is maybe Swogi, which is a sort of ray trace GI. It doesn't stutter at all, which is like a huge, huge thing these days. I haven't had one stutter in 2 and a bit hours, which I'm really, really impressed by. It's just nice. Like, I'm eager to keep playing it and getting into it. So it's made a very strong first impression.
That's awesome, and I reckon we'll be hearing more from both of you on this over the next coming weeks. But you mentioned there Swogi GI. For those that are in the audience that are not so technical, GI stands for Gay Intercourse. Darge, you had something to say?
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, I've spoken to Joe earlier, and he said like about it, and I said I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know about it. And then obviously my head was like, what's all this outrage like about the game? Because I'm seeing it reviewing well. And then I saw, get this, I saw that there's a possible choice that you could choose in an RPG where you could have a same-sex romantic exchange. And that's what everyone's getting the ump about, and it made me laugh, because one, it's a choice. You play the game how you want to play the game, right? You know what I mean? If you're that way inclined, sweet. You got an option, and I don't really talk about it too much, obviously outside the Discord, but it made me think, like, you can drink wine in that game, can't you? Like, you can drink alcohol in that game, like, and I'm a recovering addict, you know what I mean? And you don't see me up in arms crying, going, oh, they're pushing an agenda on me, like. It's so ridiculous, and you see that all the time now, in the industry. Look for anything and go, whoa, they're trying to push that woke. Oh, everything's woke these days. It's an option. Like, I get it in certain games where it's scripted narratively in a way, but when I see it was an optional choice, I was like, what? Like, it's the state of the media. It just drives me mad. Like, anything with any form of success, it's kind of like a human nature thing to a degree. You know what I mean? When you see anything successful, you try and find a shortcoming somewhere. It's just fucking ridiculous. But that ain't obviously what GI stands for. But it's a great segue though, Asa. That's why you're such a great host.
Yeah, it was smooth. So there has been a lot of talk on Twitter of all places. There's always Twitter where you're always getting all of this nonsense. And then I've simultaneously seen one group of people saying, yes, our boycott is working. They can't push this on us, whilst watching the developer say this has been a fantastic success for us and we love it. It's brilliant. It's selling really well.
It's always convenient, isn't it? Where it's always Twitter that's populated full of really insecure people. Loud, insecure people all the time. It's fucking, honestly, it's embarrassing.
Luke, did you have anything on that little facet of conversation?
No, I mean, I agree. It's just pretty embarrassing, really. People just need to get live and stop complaining about everything. It's just it's frustrating to hear it, and I try and tune it out.
Indeed, yeah, don't we all? Best way to do that is to get off social media, but I have to be there a little bit, so I do see some of it. Let's talk about Stomach House. Darge asked me today, he said, what are the topics for the podcast? And I said, Power Stone. And Power Stone 2. And he didn't believe me, but I was deadly serious. We're going to talk about Power Stone, because this week, a couple of things have happened over at Capcom. Obviously, we've got Monster Hunter that we'll talk about a little bit shortly, but they've also announced Capcom Fighting Collection Part 2. Part 1 of the Fighting Collection is released on Xbox, which was a bugbear for some people a while ago. Excuse me, I'm choking. A bugbear for people a while ago because the first part of the Fighting Collection released on absolutely everything apart from Xbox, and there were some ongoing issues that Capcom had where this particular engine that some of their retro games were running on just didn't work on the Xbox. That has been resolved. Capcom Fighting Collection Part 1 is available on Xbox now and is supposedly a very good version of it, so you can get in there and play that if you want to. But they also announced the Fighting Collection Part 2. I am fickle and I only care about myself, so I only looked and noticed Power Stone 1 and Power Stone 2, but I'm going to bring up whatever Capcom have put out around it. Luke, tell me why Power Stone is brilliant. Which one do you prefer, 1 or 2?
Well, I've only played 1. And I played it like 15 years ago. So I have very little to contribute here. Other than when I did play it, I really enjoyed it.
Fantastic
Is Power
game.
Stone 2 better? Which one's better?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a fantastic question. So they're very different. Different enough that actually I reckon they will both hold up in their own right. Because Power Stone 1 was a one-on-one fighting game. And you played it, you know what it was like. You could swing in your lamppost, you could fight, you could get your Power Stones and power up and all the rest of it. But Power Stone 2 was a 4-player fighting game. Kind of a precursor to the Smash series and things like that in a sense. Not really, that's a lie. But it's very inherently different because it's a 4-player game, not a 2-player game, and it mechanically changes it entirely. So you have 4 people wrestling over the 3 Power Stones and trying to defeat each other. And it had a much bigger emphasis on like the weapons and things. It had a big kind of out-of-game crafting system where you'd collect and combine various items to unlock 100 and something weapons in the game. So it was quite a different experience. But it's weird to think back to it because Power Stone was on the Dreamcast, which obviously had some online infrastructure. But it was a different time, and this was a local multiplayer game that you sat down with your friends and you bashed the crap out of each other. And because none of my friends were anywhere near as good as me, it made me feel like a champion. In those days, multiplayer games always made me feel like a champion because I picked friends that didn't look like they were very good at games, and I was an excellent judge of who's not good at games. So I beat the crap out of them. Then online came along, ruined my hopes and dreams, made me realise that I'm somewhere below mediocre. So I'm nostalgic, really. I want to play Power Stone. Darge, will you play Power Stone?
I never have played Power Stone. I'm not going to lie to you now and say I will. Maybe, who knows? But that's all I've really got for Power Stone. Is Power Stone the one on the Dreamcast?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I missed it then. Yeah, no. So no, and quite unlikely that I'll play it when this collection comes out. You never know. Like I might do. What else is in it? All the Capcom ones, yeah?
The trailer is playing at the moment. It's definitely not all the Capcom ones because this is only part 2 of their little collection. And they've had various other ones, right? There's been loads of Capcom collections with their arcade heritage and all the rest of it. This is playing right now. Luke, have you caught up on any of this? Are there any games in the fighting collection that you're aware of and excited about or don't give a shit about? I don't know.
I think, is this the second one?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think in the second one, isn't Street Fighter in it? Like the original?
I don't know. Not the original. No one plays that. Is it actually? I'm like...
I thought it was. I think...
Street Fighter 2.
SNK's in there as well, isn't it? Versus Capcom.
They're showing all the Power Stone stuff at the moment. It's so good. It might not look good to people watching, but it looks good to me. Fuck you.
Did they put the Marvel versus Capcom in this?
I think it is. License? Yeah, but I'm just I'm looking through.
Oh mate, I like Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the split is.
Not a big fighting fan, to be fair. I'm a lover, not a fighter, as you know.
Yeah, I do. I know that full well. Yeah, I'm satisfied. I got my Power Stone 1 and 2 bit in there. This is playing right now. Expect it to come up on community games once we figured out how to play it online. I don't know if that's included in the collection or not. I didn't actually do any research. I just wanted to talk about Power Stone. Yeah, we're all happy. Everyone's happy. Tony's happy. He loves Power Stone.
As long as you're happy, you're happy, I'm happy, mate.
I'm happy. Street Fighter Alpha 3. That's supposed to be Street Fighter 2 Alpha 3. Whatever. fucking Street Fighter name, Street Fighter Alpha 3. That was supposed to be a good one. That's in there. Might play that. Probably won't. Just going to play Power Stone. Moving on though, because clearly I'm just off on one because I'm excited by Power Stone. But they also talked about Monster Hunter Wilds, which is in beta at the moment. I think it covers this weekend on pretty much all the platforms that have got it. There's a benchmarking tool on the PC that I know a lot of people in Discord have been playing because they love looking at frame counters. So they're just running the benchmark over and over, looking at them frame numbers. Luke, Monster Hunter Wilds, you got any experience with this one?
Yeah, so I played the I've played the bit of the I played the benchmark. Play is a strong word there, but I
How many times?
used the benchmark. Like 3 on different settings, but not too many. And I think generally it runs, at least from the benchmarking stuff, it seems to run pretty well. It's fairly demanding, but it has all the features you'd expect, including frame gen. It's RE engine, so it doesn't stutter, or generally it seems pretty well optimized. Certainly, I think it's a big improvement from where it was in the last beta, which was quite unoptimized. But and then I've played like 20 minutes of the beta itself, of this beta, and it's Monster Hunter basically. It's it kind of feels like Monster Hunter was many moons ago, but I guess more fluid. Certainly visually looks better. I think I can't see it being a game. I mean, this is like a super limited sample that I've played, but I can't see it being a game that will attract tons of new Monster Hunter fans necessarily. But I think it will be very good for people who already are Monster Hunter fans. And I'm kind of like in that halfway house between the two, in that I've had kind of one Monster Hunter game that I really got into, but then the rest I've kind of played a bit and then fallen off. And I'm not sure if this one's going to grab me, but I'm going to try and go through like the content of the beta, and then see how I feel afterwards.
See, I'm not as wise as you. I don't know if I'm going to love this Monster Hunter or not, but I have pre-ordered it and I'm going to try, because I reckon there's a version of events. Like, yes, Power Stone 2 is going to have online play. Sorry, I just checked the website. So yeah, that's coming up in community games. Enjoy, everybody. So Monster Hunter though, I played Monster Hunter Worlds was probably the only one I put any kind of amount of time in, and I tried whatever one came afterwards. But my experience of them, I played this before I'd played any of the Souls games, before I'd played Dragon's Dogma and things like that, and I found them, you mentioned the word fluid there, and I found them to be quite not that. You get like a range of kind of styles of action games from the Souls games, where everything's very deliberate, right through to like a Devil May Cry style / and Monster Hunter sits very much towards the Souls end of that scale, which is not to say that it's anything like a Souls game, but it's very much about deliberate, planned movement, right? You don't mash those buttons and have any success in that game. So I don't know, just tell me a little bit about the feel of the game from what you've seen in those 20 minutes. Do you reckon I'm going to like it as someone that loves everything?
I don't know, to be honest. Like it's less clunky than prior Monster Hunter games than I've played, in terms of general movement and combat and attacks and stuff like that. The one thing, and Darge, I think said to me this point, which I totally agree with, is it's still Monster Hunter in the sense of the controls are complete madness. They're pretty crazy. Like there's some crazy combinations of kind of grip, like movement you have to do to activate certain abilities and stuff. And there's a lot of information. So I don't know if it's such a unique game and it plays in such a specific way and it controls in such a specific way. I don't know if you'll like it, to be honest. Like I'm not sure. Maybe you will, but
Luke, you're supposed to be a lawyer. I set that up for you. I said I love everything. Am I going to love this? The logic behind it is very simple. But... yes, I'm going to love it.
Well, you've got more confidence than I do, so.
Unless you're saying in those 20 minutes you're getting a slight inkling that this might be a 12 minutes again. The one game that I don't like.
No, nothing could be a 12 minutes again. I mean, no, I don't think it has any incest, so it can't be a 12 minutes, can it? So,
Well, you control the buttons you press and who you play that game with. So,
well,
If you can work out what buttons to press.
yeah, if you could, yeah.
Fucking
but yeah,
buttons.
Darge, you tell me about Monster Hunter. Have you got any interest in this at all?
I played the beta earlier this morning.
Mm.
I said to Luke, like, for Capcom, I think Dragon's Dogma is the closest you're going to get to me, like liking something, and I enjoyed Dragon's Dogma. And then you play this, and I'm like, this is like this reminds me of like Final Fantasy 14 to a degree, like, you know. And then the button mapping, I said to Luke, like, I feel like I need a fucking degree or something to know how to play this game, like, because there's just so many combinations of buttons. I mean, maybe I'm bad at it, I don't know, like, I've never really watched someone good at it, but fighting the same monster and then it running away for a bit, and then you jump back on your little riding companion and chase it and then fight it a bit more, and I was like, okay. And then the voice acting was, you know, it's a Japanese studio, you know, and it just ain't for me. It's just like in the beta, it's just not a game for me. And you remember when we spoke about Monster Hunter before, and I was saying I couldn't remember. It definitely was Monster Hunter World that I tried. I think it dropped in Game Pass or something, and we gave it a go. And I think I actually paid it because Raph in Discord was saying it might be different with friends. And I think I did play. I think I played it with you, Asa. I can't remember, but we jumped in.
You'd
and
remember.
I think it was with you. I genuinely, but yeah, it's just not a game for me at all. There was nothing in that beta where I was like, oh god, I can't wait for the full release. I was like, I literally killed the one monster, then killed one more, and was like, okay, I'm done now. And then that was it. So yeah, I understand that it's a big franchise, you know, and not everything's for everyone. So yeah, I'm sure the game will just do really, really well. But it's not for me. So that's all I've got on Monster Hunter.
Really
Wilds.
Like, it would probably be in my best interest if I hate it, because then I can play other things, right? It's one of them games that will take a lot of time if you do enjoy it. But I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try and enjoy it. And I spent money on it, so I'm going to, actually try and get the best out of it and give it a serious effort rather than one of them like 10 minutes, it doesn't feel very nice, I'm out of here. No, I'm going to try. I'm going to play it. So we'll find out how I take to Monster Hunter or don't in the near future. Not until it actually comes out, though. I don't really do betas if I can help it. So, Darge doesn't like Monster Hunter. Luke might like Monster Hunter. I reckon both of them have a more keen interest in Battlefield. And we've seen some sneak preview of what we're going to get in the next iteration of Battlefield, headed by Vince Zampella of Titanfall fame and Call of Duty fame. Big hopes and expectations for this one, and a strong first showing. But Luke, what do you reckon? From what you've seen of it, what are your feelings on the next Battlefield?
I mean, they kind of released that video, which was a breakdown of the teams that are on this, what they're aiming for, the fact that they want it to be community led in terms of tweaking and reception and development. And they're saying like all the right things. They're doing a lot of the stuff I think Battlefield fans want, which is kind of bringing it back to just like modern warfare time, basically, like current day. And focusing more on classes, very distinct classes. And then also in the brief gameplay footage they showed, they're clearly using destruction as a tool to change gameplay is clearly a focal point of this one, which it has been in some of the better past Battlefield games as well. So they only showed 10 seconds of gameplay footage, but the 10 seconds is really nice looking. Like, it looks really good. Looks very intense. Lots of destruction. Frostbite always looks good, I think. Yeah, Vince Zampella at the head of it. I think there's just an expectation that he'll help deliver something that's at minimum like a return to form. So I'm quite looking forward to this one. Again, there's some trepidation there because they've tried doing stuff like this before and trying to have it kind of community led and that sort of stuff, and it's never, it just hasn't delivered in the end. But I'm more confident with this one. I think purely because Zampella, just knows how to make great first person shoot, just great games in general. And he's, got such a history in terms of this kind of big multiplayer game. So I'm optimistic, and the gameplay footage looked very nice.
Doesn't it? Destruction is what I care for in the Battlefield games. If I'm going to be a tourist, that just is useless on my team, because my issue with Battlefield is always you've got these massive teams, and I run for 10 minutes and I get shot by a sniper, and then I run for 10 minutes and I get blown up by an aeroplane, and then I run for 10 minutes and I get run over by a tank, and then it says victory. And I'm like, well, I didn't do anything. I'm so meaningless in the scope and scale of this battle. But at least if I'm just going to run for 10 minutes and get blown up, I can take a little detour and shoot some holes in the walls of some buildings, right? This one looks like it's going to at least sate that little desire of mine to blow stuff up, and hopefully be a brilliant game as well, especially as I don't currently like, I don't like Black Ops 6 very much. So some substitute shooting game would be nice for me. Darge, are you better at Battlefield than I am?
I'm not like a big Battlefield player. I remember going to the Xbox One launch event in London, and they had Battlefield 4, where we was Call of Duty players playing that game. I mean, we appreciated, I can't remember the name of the map, maybe one of you do, the tower block that would collapse mid-fight, like a huge skyscraper that would collapse and it changed. And that was Battlefield, right? We was playing Call of Duty, but Battlefield 1, the one after the First World War one, I really enjoyed that. And game modes like Conquest, where you're saying about the huge map with the zones and you had to hold it down. I really enjoyed Battlefield, but it's, for some reason, it's just gone a bit backwards. Battlefield 5 had a bit of controversy, if I remember, at the time around it, and I didn't really play it much. And Battlefield 2042, I think, launched quite poorly, didn't it? Vince is on it. I don't know, like you say, the gameplay, the footage, the trailer that was released, I mean, there's that one bit where the RPG's fired at the building, and that's Battlefield. Like you fire that RPG and you just see all the render on the building collapsing and the building just taking the damage, and that's the beauty of it, and hopefully they recapture some of that Battlefield 4, just great, like, sort of sandboxy maps, instead of tight corridor ones like Call of Duty, these big areas where you can jump in. And I don't know, I don't have too much of a dog in the fight. It'd be great to see Battlefield come back, and sort of get in the mind's eye of people. It's always there, right? Like, everyone's kind of waiting for it. It's just been disappointing over the last two releases. But hopefully this one, they stick it. And it gives us another interesting, like you say, Call of Duty. I'm not interested in Call of Duty anymore right now. It's just a rinse and repeat formula, which works for them. Don't get me wrong, but it'd be nice to see a bit of competition again. Battlefield doing something different like it used to. Those game modes. Just for a bit of competition. I hope it works out. But then again, it's EA, and EA might come out of an article after going, it didn't quite meet our expectations. So, watch this space, right?
Have you got something you want to say about EA there, Darge?
I think we said it last week, didn't we, about these corporations and their internal expectations and metrics and blah, 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 right? Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone, well, we brought it up. I think it was maybe when JT was on here. Everyone expects something to be amazing, but it don't always work out like that. So hopefully they just release a quality product day one without any, major setbacks, and then see what happens, I think there's definitely, if Battlefield, whatever it's called, comes out, and there's no major issues, and it's just there and it's solid and ready to go. I think the community, the shooter community, will probably welcome it with open arms, you know. But we'll have, like I say, we'll have to wait and see.
We will have to wait and see. But some people, I'm going to expose my lack of research again and ask Luke to bail me out. This Battlefield stuff that they showed here, and Battlefield Labs in general, there was some opportunity for people to get involved and sample it, right? I've seen people post their little screenshots of the queues that they're in. Like, what's going on? What have they made available to people? Do you know?
It's basically a testing program so like ongoing like alphas and betas and such that you can sign up for. That's what Battlefield Labs is effectively. It was very popular, like very popular. It was quite difficult to get on the website at the time. I don't think they've actually started the testing yet. It was just the sign up phase. So I think that's coming, but I don't know when that is.
Have they confirmed what kind of GI techniques are included in the game? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's move on. That's a callback to earlier in the show. Next topic is going to be
just before you do that, mate, let me just, because I had to quickly run and get a drink. I didn't want to jump over Luke, but yeah, that was something that I forgot to mention. What I see was the queue times and the stuff for the Battlefield. It shows that, you know, that point I just made there about the first person shooter community, you know, they're craving it, you know, because of the amount of sign-ups for it. So I think as long as the game, again, like I just said, as long as it doesn't have any major hiccups or overly zealous monetization models and this, that and the other, it could be a success story. But that's all I wanted to say, mate.
Oh, that reminds me, actually, because you mentioned the monetization models. There was an executive at EA who confirmed a little bit of speculation that we had last week when we were asking what kind of trend EA are going to chase next, because they've gone from like servicey games to chasing like the, I don't know, battle royale kind of thing, to chasing single player games for a little bit, and we're just wondering what's next in the cycle. And they came out, can't remember the fella's name, but he was talking about Dragon Age specifically and saying that according to EA, the audience wants live service connected experiences. That's what they want to engage with. So we got a little answer there on what EA are probably going to be pushing their development studios towards, and that could impact Battlefield, because you talked about monetization there. It's going to be stuffed full of it, surely.
I mean, you know, with the live servicey monetization, like there's ways of doing it. You know, if you're going to go down that sort of road, you need to look at like Fortnite. You need to look at even Call of Duty, yeah, because they're constantly giving you something to stay engaged with the game, yeah. Not like, here's our roadmap, base game launching in 6 months. We're going to give you 6 months too long, yeah. They need to continuously drip, 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 and keep you in. And that's the trouble. That's the model that these games, you know, like to a lesser degree, you know, we say about Suicide Squad and all that, you know, and it's the waiting game. It's a waiting game. You have to continuously keep rewarding people for coming. Get your, you know, your battle pass perks or like Fortnite, you know, with the, I think theirs is called a battle pass or whatever the pass is, you know, the reward system. You know, you need to get that right in a live service, because if you don't, people are just going to drop it and move on, you know, and they don't want that. You know, they don't. It's all well and good saying, you know, in 3 months' time we plan to release this expansion and blah 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 and this, that, and the other. But 3 months, no one's going to play the game, and that ain't how it works. They want people to stay on for 3 months, so they have to, you know, get it right. But you know, I said it before. We'll have to wait and see what they do. Obviously, everyone wants to chase the live service model. You know, everyone wants to keep all of your attention 24/7, but how many times have we seen these games come out that don't get it right and it don't happen, and then studios close and fucking this, that and the other, you know? But yeah, we'll just have to see what they come up with.
Yeah, and it's not all bad. I'm not actually massively anti live service, because I see the benefit of evolving content and delivering things over time, but they do need to get it right, because otherwise, I mean, EA have had plenty of experience of getting it wrong, haven't they? So hopefully they'll show some restraint.
Sometimes they don't learn from their mistakes, though, right? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, it's Battlefield. Like naturally, you know, people are going to hang about, and there's too many games now. Like I say, like just Fortnite and Call of Duty that want your time. You know, FIFA. You know, all these games, and they want to shoe in there, and you need to really keep that retention. You know, and like you say, they've slipped on it many a time. But it wouldn't surprise me if they fucking cock it up again. So we'll see. What do you reckon, Luke?
Yeah, I mean the comments re Dragon Age I thought were the more interesting bit because you know the Veilguard started off as live service when it was first in development for the first couple of years, and the reason it took so long was because it basically EA had that eureka moment where they said, "Oh, actually, Dragon Age fans don't want live service; they don't want multiplayer. They want just a normal RPG that BioWare deliver on." And they got that, and obviously it didn't do as well as EA wanted. And then, so like Andrew Wilson, who's the CEO, you know, his takeaway from that was that, well, look, we were right all along. You know, what they actually want was, you know, shared world features or stuff like that, which is just, I mean, it's just total nonsense.
Is that
It's just,
no.
hmm?
It's Andrew. That's what I'm saying. It's Andrew
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah,
You know, like
it's
what
just-
you say about their metrics. You know, when we say about their game, oh, it didn't meet our expectation.
Yeah.
But if they have an expectation aligned to a live service, for example, then it's never going to meet that. You know what I mean? Because it's just a single player. You know, Andrew Wilson's a fucking wally, mate.
Yeah, it's just a very silly thing to say without really, like there's no evidence to suggest that the reason Dragon Age didn't do well is because people looked at it and went, no multiplayer in that. You know, there's no service features. There's lots of different factors why big AAA RPGs don't do that well at times. And you only have to look at something like Baldur's Gate and the success that that's had to show that there's a massive appetite for big, you know, fantasy single player, albeit that had multiplayer features, but you know, predominantly single player RPGs that have meaningful choice and consequence and big stories and complex mechanics. Like, so it's really, really silly to say, well, Dragon Age didn't do well because people want some multiplayer in it. And that worries me more. It doesn't worry me about Battlefield. That's a service game, right? It's going to be a service game. I don't think they'll do anything that's super wacky in terms of monetization or anything like that. It will be pretty standard. But it worries me for what EA now seem to have circled back around to thinking people want, which is deeper engagement in games, i.e. service features, when actually the what people want is just good games and they want a mix of this stuff.
But it's just justification. Go on.
You first.
I was just going to say it's just justification. Like all they do is justify their decisions. You know what I mean? So when they put into the next game and gone, no, we're chasing that live service or the heavy monetization model because you remember that Dragon Age game, like, and it's like, the game that was BioWare and single player. Yeah, we remember. Yeah, but that, you know, that weren't doing it. So it's just bollocks. Sorry, Asa.
All right. No, I was just going to say, it's funny because like a Dragon Age game that is online and is shared actually could potentially be freaking awesome. But these things only turn out awesome if they're creatively driven and not if they're driven by people that are like seeing the dollar signs. So if there was a team with a passion to bring that universe into an online arena, in something, not an arena, multiplayer PvP kind of experience, but if they were to, let's say, we can build this world and let people explore it in a multiplayer environment, and they had that creative drive to do it, you can have such a freaking awesome game. But if you have a studio that wants to make a single player story and then their executives above them say, no, you have to make it online so we can charge money in these ways, you're probably not going to get that brilliant game. So yeah, that's all. Let's move on to the PSN and the PlayStation in general. So I don't have insider information on what is happening, but something is clearly happening because apparently the PlayStation Network globally, as far as I know, has been unavailable for like 20 odd hours now. That's not good, is it? Darge, what have you done?
I haven't done nothing, mate. To be fair, I didn't know about it. and then I'll just see in the chat people were saying PSN is down, it's still down, and then as I was looking at it over on this monitor, you was going, yeah, it's like nearly a day or around a day. Yeah, fuck knows. I ain't got a clue what's happened or why it's happened. I mean, there's a rumored state of play next week. I doubt that's got anything to do with it, but don't know. No one's taken account for it, or have they? No, like hacker groups or
I don't
anything.
think Sony have particularly opened up and told people what is happening. Likely, there is some. You'd expect that there is a group causing some kind of malice and harm there and chaos for whatever agenda they've got, rather than just someone accidentally switched off the wrong box at Sony HQ or whatever. But yeah, we don't really know why it's down, but it always raises interesting questions around the nature of digital ownership and the content platforms that we have available to us now. Luke, are you outraged? Are you doubting all of your online purchases? Are you screaming outside Sony headquarters?
Yeah, I smashed up my PlayStation 5 Pro. I just got rid of it. I just thought, what's the point? I did actually forget about it and then tried to go online, tried to play something and then couldn't. So I was like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot it was down. It's weird. It's weird that they've not said anything. Because it's been such a, like, if it was maybe just it was 2 hours in, then I wouldn't expect them to maybe immediately say something. But for it to be so long is really strange, and to not say anything. So clearly something, as you say, nefarious has happened, I would think, some kind of attack. But yeah, very strange, frustrating, obviously, for people who are trying to play, and it does kind of bring into focus the whole digital ownership discussion, which people have been having for a couple of years now. So
yeah,
but it's every platform really, I guess, apart from maybe if you got physical Nintendo cartridges, is susceptible to this. So it's yeah, it's somewhat worrying longer term, I must say.
What do you reckon, Lou? Do you not think this is maybe a marketing idea for maybe like when they get back online, they announce the state of play, so the whole world will be ready to watch Uncle Hideo?
Yeah, it's
all related to Death Stranding 2, probably.
Yeah, probably.
That's like with the tagline, like reconnecting the world. Sony reconnect the servers and then plug the game.
Yeah,
that'd be smart. I'll be down for that.
That would be. Anything that's DS2 would be smart to me.
Yeah, even the terrible ideas, absolutely brilliant. Love them all. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say on that, really, is there? It's frustrating, as Luke said. It's probably as far as I would go in terms of outrage. It's frustrating not to be able to access your games and all the rest of it. There are more important things in the world, so I wouldn't necessarily take it beyond frustration and be too outraged. But today shines a light on the environment that we have all accepted with our digital purchases. Coming up next is Grand Theft Auto 6. So I heard a little, it's not even, I'm going to call it a rumor. It's definitely not a rumor. It came out of the Take-Two investor meeting, but that game is confirmed to be releasing later this year. Luke?
Apparently. Yeah, until they delay it anyway. Maybe. Who knows? It's nice that they've recommitted to fall 2025. Invariably, they were going to be asked questions, and I think they got ahead of it just by saying it outright. But it's Rockstar, man. So, like, it might get to summer, and then they'll be like, "Actually, we need another 6 months." Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
There's no. If in the next couple of months they release a second trailer and put a specific date for 2025 on it, I still won't feel fully confident, but I would feel much more confident than them just committing to a vague fall period for this year. Clearly, they can't be 100% confident, I wouldn't think, otherwise they would have already announced and committed to a specific date. But given the amount of times that they have confirmed that it's coming out this year, I think they're at least internally pretty happy that is probable, almost.
Yeah, at the very least, we know
it.
they mean what they say, right? Even if it doesn't turn out to be true and they have to delay it later, the current intention is legitimately to release it in full this year.
Yep.
So, Darge,
fingers crossed.
Let's say it comes out on the same day as Death Stranding 2. Which one do you play first?
Death Stranding 2. Mate, my daughter's birthday could be the same day as it Death Stranding 2, yeah, and she'll have to fucking get on with it on her own. Because that game, mate, I've already said, you know what I mean? Like, I think I spoke to Luke about it, you know, like all that crazy year, you know, like all these Xbox Forza Horizons going to PlayStation, and then some of the people who I respect, you know, like, again, this is going to be a wacky year, you know, you ain't seen nothing yet. And I was like, well, what if Death Stranding 2 releases everywhere day one? You know what I mean? That's crazy. But I've said about Death Stranding 2, like, you know, if it is console exclusive for 6 months, I won't wait. Like, I will have to buy a console. It's as simple as that. I don't want to. Like, not because of console peasantry or anything like that, but it's just, I want to play on my PC. I don't want to have to go and spend another 700 quid. But yeah, Take-Two. Yeah, I mean, Rockstar get away with everything, right? And rightfully so, they can, because I think I just see something there on an article saying it's expected to make something like 1 billion in pre-orders and something like 3 billion. That may be wrong, but that's what the article said, 3 billion in the first week alone. So it's going to print money, right? You know, so chatting with investors, you know, and going, yeah, don't worry, that money's coming. Like, it's coming, you know, and it's still on track for fall. Yeah, I don't know, because like everyone else is sort of working around it, right? Because nothing really has too much of a release date. And, you know, Chris Grinnell brought up a good point with me today, like with Avowed. You know, everyone looking forward to Avowed and this, that, and the other. And, you know, I think it comes out next week, I think, or maybe a couple of weeks' time. And Chris is saying, like, you know, will that be affected, you know, by possibly Kingdom Come 2? You know, and now that's gone, and it might not, yeah, but the point of the matter is you don't want your game to release alongside something else. That's why everyone's being a little bit coy around release dates because of GTA 6. So they're still saying fall. I mean, yeah, if they're sure on a full release date, you know, then they'll start nailing the date down, and I would expect that second trailer to come like in the next sort of couple of months, something like that. So it's sort of like, you know, 5-6 months out from launch, maybe. But then again, it's Rockstar. You just don't know. So I don't know. They've just reaffirmed it's definitely coming this year. If it clashes with Death Stranding 2, there's only one winner for me.
Yeah, that is where the famous expression "pity the fool" came from. You don't want to release alongside Grand Theft Auto 6.
No way. Well, you remember, was it Titanfall 2 that came out alongside fucking Battlefield and Call of Duty, wasn't it, in the same window, and then got squashed? You know, just it's a piss poor decision, really, but that's why everyone's holding off. So, yeah.
Yeah. If you're watching here now or later, I've got between 2 and 6 things that I want you to do. I've not really planned this out. I don't know what the things are yet. Can you please hit like on the stream? That might not help. It might help. I don't know, but it makes us feel appreciated and loved, and it's all warm and fuzzy. Can you join the Discord if you haven't already? There's a link in the video description. Hit that. It's a good place. You can get straight in there and start talking to us. Can you... Oh, fuck it. I think I've only got 2 things. That's enough. That's enough. Oh, stick some questions in the box. We'll be getting to those in a minute. Yeah. So 3 things if you can. Oh, and can you pre-order the Marvel Capcom Fighting Collection so we can all play Power Stone 2? Luke, what else is going on this week? What haven't we talked about?
What else haven't we talked about? I think
did we talk about Assassin's Creed? Assassin's Creed being delayed again?
Has it?
It happened well, originally it was coming this month, wasn't it? And then they pushed it back to March. Is that right? It was meant to be coming on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it was supposed to be coming in Feb, and they pushed it to March. But I think it was
Another
a few
month.
weeks ago that they confirmed the port. Yeah.
Oh, I only found out this week. Sorry, everyone. I'm late to the party as per usual.
Fair. Yes, I'll actually in a minute for the questions, I think. Unless Luke or Darge. Darge has got one. Here it comes. Here it comes. Wait for it. Hold on, Darge. Wait for it. What is it?
I know we don't do rumours a lot on here, but there's a rumoured state of play coming next week. What thoughts about it? What we'd like to see? I think me and Luke obviously are given what we'd like to see, but we'll still discuss on it. But I see a lot of people running away with the idea that because it was coming in the week of Valentine's, aka Hearts, Kingdom Hearts 4 is definitely going to be there. So, Asa, if State of Play is coming, what do you want to see?
I would like to see PlayStation Network restored to online functionality before this goes ahead.
That'll be the one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing. You can use your Playstations again now.
You can use it.
One more thing, and it'd be Herman Hulse just flicking a server box switch and going, "Now play your games."
I don't really know. I don't really know. Rumors and speculation really aren't my thing. So you'd expect to see some more Ghost of Yotai, I suppose, and some Death Stranding 2. You'll be after your release date. I guess that's a plausible place to get it. Anything new is always exciting. I guess we'll see some fair games, which I'm not sure if I'm interested in or not, but there we go. And Final Fantasy 17, which I'm not expecting.
Nice.
Luke, what you got for it?
I have like a realistic list, and then what I'd really want. So I think what I'd really want is what I'd really want is a couple of game announcements. One big game announcement from Sony directly, which would be what Sony Santa Monica are working on. So Corey Barlog's next game, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what that is. I'd also really like to see intergalactic gameplay. This is a wish list. I don't think we'll get either of those things, to be honest, but I'd really like to see them. Realistically, what I expect is another Death Stranding 2 trailer with a proper release date. So, I mean, that's really good. Maybe another Yotai trailer / some gameplay trailer, something like that. And then I really like. It always tends to be around this year that a new Resident Evil gets revealed. So I'd love to see RE9 get announced and shown here. Just a lot of rumors about where that's set and who it stars, and it's been obviously a while since Village. So I'm kind of expecting that to show up. Could be totally wrong, but I just feel like it's probably the right time for it to be announced. Might not release this year, but maybe they tend to release a lot of their games early in the year. Capcom, including Resident Evils historically, so maybe announced for a early 2026 release. But if it had those latter three things in it, I think it'd be a really good state of play.
Good. I'm looking at
Concord
Darge.
2.
Concord 2.
2.
Oh, bold sequel.
The Concord Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Luke jacked. He didn't jack it because he didn't know, but Resident Evil was going to be something because, obviously, with all the hope in the world, it's going to be centered around Death Stranding because Hideo's posting now that he's in an editing process for the final trailer over the last week. So we spoke about this, me and Luke, obviously Wolverine, since the big Insomniac leak, there was leaked gameplay and stuff like that, and they've been really fucking quiet since then. So maybe Death Stranding 2, maybe another look at Wolverine, because obviously, realistically, aside from the leak, all we ever saw was the reveal at the bar. A snippet of Wolverine. I feel like with Ghost of Yotai, they'd probably do another. If it works out the way I think, which is Death Stranding 2 comes in the first half of this year, Yotai comes in the second, they'd do another separate state of play for that. But then Resident Evil was going to be the one, because I do believe Resident Evil 8 was shown at a State of Play. Unless I'm mistaken. I think I'm pretty sure of that. And I feel like it might be time for Resident Evil 9 as well this year, because has it been like 2 years since Village?
It's been a while, yeah. I can't
Yeah, and
remember. It might be longer, actually.
I know you say they usually release them quite early in the year, but obviously with Monster Hunter Wilds and the rumoured Resident Evil 9 going to be the third RE Engine open world game, we'll wait to see if that's a thing or not. But I could possibly see Resident Evil 9 sort of coming at the back end of this year, maybe rolling into start of 2026. But you know, Sony with all the cancelled games, the live service and this, that and the other, there's only so much we know about, right? So they're going to have to start tying up some deals with certain publishers. So hopefully, just hopefully the State of Play comes, because I just think, even if it's just a State of Play and they just blatantly say to you, join us on the 14th, because it's just all going to be Hideo Kojima, I'll be happy with that. You know, like, so many questions I have about that game, but yeah, State of Play, I think it's due.
Yeah. So we are reaching towards the end of this show now, and nobody's asked me what games I played this week. It's very sad.
What you played this week, Asa?
Thank you, Darge. I was hoping someone would ask.
In your head.
Yeah, I've not played any Power Stone for a good 15 years or so, Luke. I'm looking forward to the day that I can, which is coming up fairly soon. What have I played this week? I played Evil West on Tuesday. No, I didn't. I played Minecraft on Tuesday. I played Evil West on Thursday with a mean machine, Demon Hunter, and it was a disaster. Bloody game kept breaking all over the place. It's really a fairly mediocre title, I would say, without being too harsh on it. Like, there's some enjoyment to be had, but it is fairly basic in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's passable, right? As games go, I could play it and go, yeah, that was a reasonable experience. I had a nice enough time, except that it keeps on breaking because we're playing it in co-op. And we had moments where performance just utterly did not work. Like, a rock would fall from the sky and I would teleport halfway across the map and teleport back and couldn't do a thing. That cleared up and the gameplay smoothed off a bit. And then we kept getting stuck in treasure chests and things, like having to quit out the game. You can't reload last checkpoint. So if one of us gets stuck in some scenery or stuck in one of these treasure chests and interactive things, or we approached a switch that's supposed to trigger a cutscene and the cutscene didn't trigger. So we're just standing by this switch going, well, none of my buttons are doing anything. All you can do is quit the game, fire it up again, rejoin the co-op and play from there. And it sucked some of the fun out of it. It's a shame. It was. It is a shame, but it did. It started to get prettier as the game went on. We started to stream in this desert area going, whoa, that looks a bit rough. Something wrong with that horse over there. But as we went on to the further on areas, it did start to look a bit prettier. They started to use more than one color at a time, and it's all right when it works. That's not a strong compliment, though. Now, we did some more skiing yesterday, which was also an entertaining disaster.
It looked fun. That actually did. It reminded me, I think I put in the chat, it reminded me of Trials HD, like, where it has that frustrating mechanic in it where you've got to learn the balance and stuff like that. What's it called?
Lonely Downhill Dickheads.
Right. Okay.
Lonely Mountain. Downhill snowy skis. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it, Darge. It's Lonely Mountain.
Is it on Game Pass?
Yes, it is on Game Pass.
Okay. I might have a look.
Yeah, do have a look. Join us with it. It's great because all across the Discord there's been people practicing it, trying to learn the mountains and get their times up, and I beat them all. Yeah, that's not... Sometimes we get a fair mix of people winning, to be fair. It is good. It is... Every time we play it on a community games, we played it the last 3 in a row, but everybody goes through this like trial by fire where the last person down the mountain, everybody is spectating them. And because the nature of the game and the fact that it is trials like, and it is frustrating and you are going to repeatedly die and look like a bit of a numpty, everyone goes through this experience where they're like, kill me, end it, please let me out, everybody stop watching, I don't want to do this anymore. And we have to like give them that gentle encouragement that we're not judging them, but we are judging them actually. And it's brilliant. It's just funny every time. And
Trials,
Rocket League.
Trials was definitely like that. I think Trials was the same, where you'd be watching the last person trying to complete the assault course. Like, is so like degrading. You know, when everyone's going, "Go on, mate, go on, you're nearly there, go on," and you're like, "Fuck off," like struggling.
Yeah, it's exactly that experience, and we've had it 3 times in a row, and it's been great. And we played peak multiplayer as well. We did a bit of Rocket League, which is still perfect as multiplayer games go. Easy to play, infinitely high skill ceiling, and just good fun. So, yeah, community games was good this week. Anyway, I think we've covered everything that we need to cover this week, apart from our community questions. So, has it been a quiet week? I don't know. I think we've managed to.
I think it's been fairly quiet. Yeah. I mean, but in general,
it's been a monumental week with the announcement that I'm going to get to play Power Stone 1 and Power Stone 2. So I don't really know what you're talking about. Big week in gaming, fellas. Big week in gaming. Here we go. We've got a question up. It is from Tom, and it says, "Evening, fellas. What's not to like?" And he's got one himself today. 13mm spanners. Seem to have at least 2 of every size spanner, yet no 13mm ones. Of course, all the nuts needing attention were 13mm, and you got an exasperated gasp out of Darge there, so I think he can relate.
Standard procedure, that, Tom. That's a killer.
So, spanners, yeah. Darge, what's not to like?
Role-playing games, giving you choices.
But a lot of people don't like that, Darge. It's not. I'm not feeling that's a personal entry from you, though.
Optional choices. Don't scare me.
Darge loves the optional choices, though, so that's not accepted as an answer. Darge, what's not to like?
Dagenham and Redbridge's football stadium on a cold day. That weren't to like today. It was quite cold. I didn't enjoy that. And another one that I've been thinking about all week, and I'm just going to put it out there. It might upset some people. Socks and sandals, not to like. And I've thought about it a lot, and I've had to get that off my chest. That's never okay. If you do that, take a good long look at yourself and just stop it. It's madness. Have you got anything, Luke?
I completely agree. Socks and sandals, generally. Crocs, not to like them.
Oh, never
Crocs. They seem to have made a horrible resurgence.
Yeah.
Also, the queue for my 5090 has only gone down by one more person. So I started off at 82, and now I'm at 80. That's not to like. That's taken 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Anything else? I'm just going to repeat the socks and sandals one. That's definitely like
that's a podcast in itself. The socks and sandals, filth. Anything else? What have you got, Asa? Surely you've got something.
I was just wondering, because if you're going to make that a podcast in itself, you'd need to find some contrasting opinions, because just like 3 people piling on socks and sandals won't take you so far.
I'm sure there'll
be some out there.
There'll be some people in Germany screwing at what I've said. Every time I go abroad, there's always that German guy with socks and sandals on, and he don't take my advice ever.
We'll get him on a podcast. You can talk about it. For me, I might have used this. I might have said it in previous weeks, but the game 12 minutes is not to like.
I think that needs to be repeated every time this question is asked.
It's 12 minutes. Replicant don't mind it as well. I remember him saying it weren't that bad.
Nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all in agreement on that one. And the other one I would say is the 15 years without Power Stone 1 and Power Stone 2. So that wasn't to like, but that is a problem solved. We can all move on with me being happy with my Power Stones. Unless I lose. Unless it destroys my childhood by putting it into that online mode, and it turns out that I am terrible and everyone just destroys me. Oh, that might not be to like.
You got your thing, and I'm still waiting for Konami to recapture the magic of Pro Evolution 4, 5, and 6. That's still really not to like, and I don't care what they do until they get their finger out. Oh, I'm not a happy man, you know.
I hope that happens for you, Darge. I hope it does.
So do I.
Tony has asked, Me, will I be getting a Steam Deck now since phone gaming did not work out for you? No, Tony, because I'm going to have a Switch 2, which I think will sate my very limited need for portable gaming. The phone gaming, the reason that it didn't work out for me really, ultimately, is that I actually don't really like playing on a small screen in my car. Turns out I was right in the first place. So,
but whilst driving, not whilst driving, surely.
That adds to the excitement. I don't know how else you're going to do it. So,
sellotape it to the center of the steering wheel. Like,
yeah, no, Tony. I don't think a Steam Deck is going to be required anytime soon. I'm going to do my emulation stuff. I'd rather do on a bigger screen, to be honest. So, I will do that, and I will take a Switch 2 around with me on the rare occasion that it fits what I need. So, the exception to that actually is if I get a pair of fancy glasses, those X-Real ones that let you have a fake screen. Steam Deck might be better suited to that, but then it starts getting to be a lot of money. Let's have the next, if there are any more, the next questions. Tony says Lonely Mountains looks easy because Tony has been too scared to jump on with us and find out for himself.
Typical big
Tony.
Talk that from someone. On the Steam Deck point, I might have to be getting rid of mine, going towards my new build. So, serve me well, the old Steam Deck. I might be making this up. I'm sure I heard Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 performs quite well on the Steam Deck. I'm going to have to check that now.
I think I saw that, yeah.
40 FPS.
Yeah,
I think someone said it was like 40 FPS, right? Yeah. It's really well optimized. I know we're back on it again, but, sensational stuff.
Stuff. Awesome. Well, that doesn't make me want to get a Steam Deck though, because if I were going to play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I would play it on my big screen all pretty like.
In about 6 years.
It was an if, right? It was an if.
After Death Stranding.
After the first Death Stranding. I will get to it, Darge, one of these days. As there were only the 2 questions and we've blasted through our topics, I think we're getting to the end of a slightly shortened show today, but that's all right because we've had a nice time. Everyone's had a nice time. Everyone has learned that Power Stone 1 and 2 will be available soon and featured in our community games. So, mission accomplished. Luke, say all of the things that you've ever wanted to say to everyone in the world, or whatever fits.
Yeah, I'll go with the latter because I don't think it's appropriate. For what I want to say. Thank you for having me as usual, and pleasure to talk to you both and interact with the chat as well. So thank you. Just go follow me on the place called Twitter/X and the Haven, known as Blue Sky, and that's it.
Reasonable.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Football Manager.
We'll do it. We've got time. Stick around, everyone. Football Manager, has it been delayed or cancelled? Is it just delayed?
It's been cancelled.
The game that has kept the industry alive for so long has finally had a cancellation.
Sports Interactive have had their first ever
Miles Jakobsen and the boys over there.
Devastated.
Do you know, you say it's kept the industry alive. It probably was pretty significant in keeping Sega alive for a while.
Oh, I was talking to someone. Who said, I hope they don't close them down. And I was like, bruv, if Sega close Sports Interactive down, that is carnage. Because I know people go, oh, Atlas, Persona. And it's like Football Manager or Championship Manager. They've been around since the mid-90s. And they've got such a huge... to be fair, as far as cancellations go, I see, I follow a few of the out of context Football Manager on Twitter. It's got a huge following. There's loads of them. And a lot of them have all agreed that this game was delayed a couple of times because they're switching to a new engine, which I think is more pro for the console and stuff like that as well. So Football Manager can be in more places. And they delayed it a couple of times and they've made the collective decision, which is nice for a change in a way. They said that there's no point us bringing this game out in its state now when the football season will begin again in August and we'll be bringing Football Manager 26 before the year's end. So effectively, we'll be charging you twice for 2 games in a year. And they just said we're going to have to skip this year, get the engine tuned up, get everything right for 26. But like when I put it in the thing, I was just like, whoa, like Football Manager cancelled, like because it's just it's such a thing, you know, and it's got such a huge following, and there's no way on this earth Sega would ever contemplate turning that down. I mean, the money that generates, I wouldn't even know, but the money that generates year on year must be sensational for Sega.
There was a time, so obviously Sega used to make hardware and they dropped out after the Dreamcast, and a lot of their games that their arcade studios and all the rest of them were more known for were a bit ropey for a while, but keeping things solid, like old reliable for Sega after they came out with hardware, was Football Manager and the Total War games from Creative Assembly. So it has carried them for a lot of time. Obviously they've got other things that they do well now, so they're probably on better, less shaky ground.
I mean, but the thing is, when you've got like, you know, whatever it is, 30 years of fan base, you know, and there's people, you think about it, we say about FIFA, right? Like every year people are buying that new game that's just got a squad update, you know, kits updated, this, that and the other. Football Manager don't even have that. It's just database that they update every year, and without fail, every single person gets the next game. Like, that is a money printer for Sega. But yeah, I see it and I sort of threw it in our little thread and was like, whoa, it's cancelled. But
it's a slightly different kind of cancellation, isn't it? Because they're not putting any work in the bin. They just realised they can't release it as Football Manager 25 if they take much longer. They'll just keep building it and rename it.
And not only that, it is kind of refreshing, right? Because like they could do what some, you know, that like, because I think they said it in their actual statement that they put out, that approach that a lot of console gamers suffer, which is we'll put the game out and we'll patch it up over time. And that's what they said. They said they didn't feel that it'd be fair to charge you for this with the promise of we'll keep improving, then come to the fall of this year and then go, right, here's 26 now. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, it's nice in a way, bit of sweet one for the fan base, but it's nice to see.
Well, good. That's lovely to see. We're ending on the high note of Football Manager getting cancelled for the fans. Darge.
Yes, sir.
Say what you want to say to all the people here.
Thanks everyone for being here, engaging in the chat, asking you questions, listening to these two lovely geezers and my madness. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Darge Knight. You can find me on Blue Sky. I still don't know what that thing is over there, the handle. But I'm there. Yeah, and that's it. Don't wear socks with sandals. Put your hands together when you go to bed tonight. Say a little prayer that Hideo Kojima is going to grace us with his presence next week. And we finally get a date. And be safe, everyone.
Yeah, do that. Be safe. That's wonderful advice. Remember the things that I asked you to do. They were very important. I've forgotten what they were, but very important. Join the Discord. Talk to us in there. I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky and YouTube and all of them platforms and things. And I can't remember my own name. So you have to do your own research. Just look down. It's under the video. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.